Welcome to Nitpicking Nerds. It's time to talk about cards that are really powerful,
but they suck in Commander.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, BZ, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. Every single day, we're making new videos. Every single day. And this is a very special day. Why is that?
Because it's brought to you by Into the AM. Into the AM is an apparel company that makes awesome clothing wear like these shirts. This is, BZ, how do you pronounce it again?
Vitruvian.
Vitruvian Alien. What are you wearing?
If this shirt isn't called Triane, I'm going to freak out because I thought of that earlier and I was really proud of it.
That's a really clever nickname. Honestly, all their shirts are amazing. They have awesome deals going on all the time. Honestly,
all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
All the time.
Oh, okay, good.
All the time.
How am I supposed to finish the ad?
I'm so excited.
If you keep saying all the time. All these shirts are amazing. We wear them every other day, pretty much, because we have so many of them at this point. So let's talk about some of these cool designs. Well, first we have octopus hugging a barrel. Very classic design here.
This one's very, very intricate, but I call it the Falling Tube Astronaut.
Ooh, Falling Tube Astronaut is a good one. How about Synthwave Astronaut?
He looks really cool.
And really synthwave.
Yes, there's also Natural Order, parentheses, the Magic card.
Yeah, it's named, this man named after the Magic card. And my personal favorite, Spaceman trapped in a jar with some sand.
Oh, yeah. And then there's also Surf's Up, which I think might be based on the movie Surf's Up.
Yes, it 100% is based on that movie. Honestly, head over to NTAM, use our link so that you can get yourself a nice discount on these awesome, awesome shirts.
We always talk about our links, affiliate links helping the channel. This is helping just you because when you use a link, you just save 10%. That's dollars. We're just giving you dollars when you buy these awesome shirts.
You would literally
be losing money.
If you didn't use our link.
It's in the description. Also, we're sponsored by Moxfield. Unlike Into the AM, where you would have been able to predict where the ad is, you won't be able to predict where the Moxfield ad is. I'm sorry.
It's not possible. It is literally not
hasn't been done.
Possible. It hasn't been done. Actually, it has one time.
Hasn't been done.
It's only been done once out of the millions of videos we've made.
Yes, and happy birthday to everyone whose birthdays today and all your pets whose birthdays are also today.
All right, we got to get into this video, BZ. What are we doing today?
I thought it'd be interesting to look at some of the most powerful cards across all of Magic that just don't quite translate into Commander. There's a lot of strong cards out there that are basically good in every other format, but when you try to put them into Commander deck and just switch them over, they suck. They're really not good at all.
Yeah, a lot of these are very bad. Some of them are like fringe playable in like some Commander decks, but most of them, if you come to me with a deck, I'm not going to tell you to put this in. All right, so let's just hop right in. The first one is Prismatic Ending, which is one of the best removal spells in all of Modern, and it's pretty good in Legacy as well. But in Modern, it's literally a staple of the format.
It's basically just one of the best removal spells.
Yeah, so it's X and a white, and it has Converge for each color put into it. You can exile something with mana value X or less for the Converge colors.
Right, but if you just pay white and X is 0, you still get 1.
Or 0.
Right, so you still take out the Mox Opals or the Ragavans, whatever's ailing you. So jamming 4 of these into your deck, that's pretty sweet, especially when every threat is 1 and 2 mana. Kind of doesn't work when the threats are like 6 mana and you can't even possibly get there.
Yeah, you can't get past 6 because
you can't get past 5.
You can't get past 5. Yeah, you can't get to 6. 6 is an unreachable number, and there's a lot of threats up there. Also, any deck that's not 5 colors, automatically now you get less. Like you're a 4-color deck, you can only get up to 4. 3-color deck, only up to 3, and that's just way too few threats in the Commander format. Whereas in Modern, all the threats essentially cost
80%.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what is prime time? Some planeswalkers are maybe above that.
See, for me, you lost me at sorcery. That's where you already like. Even if this thing was just like 3 and a white, get rid of anything. It's like sorcery, huh? Unplayable. Get out of my format.
It's so true. Sorcery removal is so much worse in the Commander format. We want instants all day long.
Like Vindicate. I'm not even touching Vindicate.
Yeah, okay. What's next, BZ?
This one is going to be easily the most contentious because people are going to say this is good in Commander, but it's Jace the Mind Sculptor. Probably up until recently was the best Planeswalker of all time, instantly dethroned by Oko, but second best Planeswalker of all time. You're fate-sealing opponents, you're bouncing creatures, you're brainstorming, and then you're going to basically screw them. That's their last mode, is they just lose and they hate themselves. This card is like dominant in any 1v1 setting anywhere. If you untap with a Jace, there's just nothing your opponents are going to be able to do. Between fetching and resetting the top card of your library to just controlling every top deck they have if you're already ahead, this card is pretty sweet. It was banned in Standard, dominant in Modern, sort of.
No,
it was initially banned in Modern because they kind of had an idea that it would just run the format, unbanned, and now it's kind of just like good. And then Legacy, it's just also good.
It's good in Legacy. It's sometimes good in Modern. It depends on meta. Like that's Jace is weird in Modern.
I think right now it's good.
I would say it was never dominant. It's weird because it did dominate Standard, and they were scared to put it into Modern, so they pre-banned it.
It might have though. I think it could have easily dominated Modern
Earlier. Yeah. And I think that's very true. So Jace the Mind Sculptor falls trapped to one of the biggest things about Commander. The worst type is Planeswalker. You don't want to be playing very many Planeswalkers, and if you are, you want them to do a dominant amount. In order to get anything out of Jace, you play 4 mana and then Brainstorm, which
That's what you have to, because if you're talking about any other mode, it's embarrassing.
It's not anything. It's not worth the mana. So now you play this, you zero, you draw the cards, and then you put 2 back, and then it dies because it's at 3. And how are you ever protecting that? Jace just doesn't pull his weight in the Commander format. You never get enough out of that 4 mana spell.
4 mana for, like, let's even be generous, 2 Brainstorms. I feel like I've gotten away with something. That's still not even that great. Sorcery speed between 2 turns. This is like, we don't even play Brainstorm much. This is just not anything special. It's definitely a bling trap.
Yeah, I think it is a huge trap because its price tag makes it look like it's this show-off, awesome, amazing card. And if you have one, you want to put in your deck because, like, I own Jace the Mind Sculptor, which is cool. Like, I remember getting my first Jace the Mind Sculptor and be like, wow,
big moment.
Have Jace the Mind Sculptor. This is, like, one of the quintessential Magic cards. Like,
better than all.
Like, yeah, exactly. Better than all, Jace the Mind Sculptor. But, regardless, bad in Commander.
Yes. Next, this is a classic, and maybe some Commander players have never even heard of this card. Chalice of the Void, XX artifact. Then now whenever a spell is played with mana cost X, where X is the number of counters it enters with, it gets countered. This does not scale into Commander because we got 3 mana, 4 mana, 5 mana spells run all over the place. It's home in Modern and Legacy where 1 and 2 drops kind of the norm.
Yes, something to mention right now while we're here, we're not really talking about CEDH. Chalice of the Void is a card that scales all right into CEDH.
Yeah, I think it might see some
It sees
play.
at least some play in some stacksy, fringier decks, but regardless of that, it's not seeing play outside of anything completely CEDH. Like you said, the threats are just, they're too diverse across the curve. Really, like a curve in Modern will go like 1, 2, and that's like 3, 4, and it's just like there's nothing there.
Right.
But a curve in EDH will be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then fall off.
And usually the decks they're not playing the number that they're trying to hit the most, 1 or 2. You got a lot of maybe rituals if you're trying to hit 1, and then sometimes Tron decks and like Eldrazi things are just going up to 4 and 5, so they don't care. There's just no setup you can do with this thing. I don't know how you're supposed to make this work in like a regular Commander game. What number are you supposed to pick?
Chalice of the Void has to be good on 1 to be good, period. I think that's how you look at this card.
That's the bar.
If Chalice of the Void is good on 1, it's a good card. Or good on 0. Because the other rates stink. Every other rate on Chalice of the Void is like a fallback. Like something like, hey, I'm going into the late game and I want to just throw something
I'm going to the late game. I'm going to choose 2.
Well, which is good in Modern,
Yeah.
right? But it's not good in a format where we're casting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 drops regularly every single game.
Another appeal of Chalice of the Void is you get to jam multiples in your deck, which you're going to see throughout the game. So you can name 0 and 1, and some decks just don't get to play now. They're done. And you just can leisurely stroll through your deck and eventually finish them off.
It's, super true for Modern. Like we said, not true for the format we call Commander.
Yeah, what about the next one?
This one's funny. This one actually, this card has always been a house in Legacy. It's Delver of Secrets, which is, a 1/1 flyer, and on your upkeep, you reveal the top card, instant sorcery, turn it into a 3/2 flyer for 1 mana. It's never been that good in Modern, which I always found funny.
It was always in the fringe, and I know
Brainstorm, man.
It was definitely good in Standard.
Yes, and Brainstorm just made this card so good. And yeah, it was really good in Standard when it was paired with Ponder.
Yeah, Ponder, and I think Snapcaster Mage was also in that. I don't know, what was it, Splinter Twin?
What a format we lived in back then. But Delver of Secrets is obviously nothing for the Commander format. Actually, BZ, when we were talking about this script, had DRC here, and I mentioned him like, in higher versions in Commander, we do see some DRC. So DRC actually, a little bit better. Delver, it's literally vanilla.
It's not like Darcy and maybe Ragavan. I can understand
they
what
have
they
a
do.
little effect.
I can't understand what this does because it doesn't do anything. The thing it does is when your lives are at 20, it provides a lot of pressure where you just turn your lands, you're going to max out at like 1 or 2 lands. You're wastelanding, you're dazing, you're force of willing. You're just shutting them out and just swinging 6 times with a stupid 3/2 because that's what you can afford to do. First of all, we're at 40 life. Second of all, there's 3 opponents. This is not going to do the job.
One honorable mention here, because you just mentioned one. Daze. Holy crap, that's a bad card in Commander.
I think it might be some CDH spice, but other than that, I would probably stay away from it.
God, it's so bad.
Yeah, I really like these next ones because they're suffering big time from the singleton rule. Urza's Mine, Urza's Tower, Urza's Power Plant. Super big in Pauper. They got Expedition Map banned. What a format. Also modern, maybe the more real format.
Yeah, Urza's Tron. This is Tron. These are the 3 lands that you've heard the name Tron before. Maybe you didn't know what it was because you're a Commander player. This is Tron. It's getting all 3 of these lands out so that they power each other up, and you can make 7 mana on turn 3.
They all tap for 1, but if you have all 3, they tap for 2, 2, and 3.
I've seen people put this in their Commander decks. I don't get it. It's not worth it. Naturally drawing this is almost never going to happen.
I would say virtually impossible.
The odds are very low. Like, I don't know actual odds. I'm not the statistics guy.
They're low.
They're definitely low. But if you're wasting your tutors to get these, you could just be getting Ancient Tomb. You could
I think Gaia's Cradle is legal in this format.
Gaia's Cradle,
Nykthos, Cabal Coffers.
There's so many good lands that actually do something. And Urza's Mine, Tower, and Power Plant just are colorless lands that do nothing in 1 out of 100 games. They will be really good.
Yeah, I mean, colorless decks, it's almost a free roll.
Almost.
But even then, I would have to see a full mana base and see what I'm giving up, because that still might not be worth it.
It's close, because you have to look at these as realistically, I'd say 1 out of 20 games. That's probably where I think it would be at if I'm actually thinking about it. This will be relevant. Is that worth it to give up
3
some other land?
3 land slots.
3 land slots. There's a lot of good utility lands. In every set, we get new ones that do more. I don't know. It feels like if these aren't out of the colorless decks, they're heading that way.
Yes, they are. And it must be an accident, because we actually snuck something super awesome for Commander on here.
Yeah, we did. It is moxfield.com, which is the best deck building website in the entire universe. BZ, tell them your favorite feature about moxfield.com right now.
My favorite feature has got to be that once I build a deck and sort through everything in the fantastic way that Moxfield lets me, I can now play test it in a very convenient, fleshed out way. I know where everything is. There's shortcuts. You can type everything in and get good at it. But it just lets me kind of know, what are the first couple goldfish hands going to look like with my deck? I can refresh. I can keep track of what turn it is, which I like. Am I getting mana screwed? Am I drawing bad hands? Like, what's going on? Then I can just tab out of that, go back to the deck list, and fix anything that I like before I even build it.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Moxfield is actually one of the best. It is the best deck building website out there. We've used all the other ones. Literally tried every other one. This is it. This is top of the line. We wanted them to be our sponsor. They wanted to be our sponsor. It's a match made in heaven.
We went after them.
We love you, Moxfield.
We do. We also love the rest of this list, because there's 5 more of these. Aetherville is the next one. Aetherville has so many problems in Commander. It's hilarious, because it really benefits from the 4 of rule, the consistency. Like, I don't know what deck would want Aetherville that is now going to rely on drawing it basically 7% of the time, because if it's not in your opening hand or the first 3 or 4 draw steps, might as well be a brick, because all it's going to do is put charge counters on itself, then let you put cheap creatures from your hand based on the number of charge counters. So when you got all 1s and 2s and 3s, it lets you save like 6 mana in a short game. But Commander, not even that short of a game, you're really not cheating anything. We have better ways to cheat things.
This card is all tempo, right? The whole point of an Aetherville is to get you that tempo advantage. There is no tempo in Commander. You cannot out-tempo every single player. It is not a viable thing. One-on-one, the idea of out-tempoing a player is like, you're going to do more, get more on the field, get going faster so that you can just get on and just get in for the beats right away. Not something you can do in Commander. It's not a viable strategy.
Well, you can't nickel and dime 2, 3 mana. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, life totals are too high. There's too much ramp. There's too many players. There's a million reasons you can't do that. And Aetherville is the most tempo card you will ever see in Commander.
Yes, I think
overall.
It does see some legacy play. It sees a bunch of modern play. Whenever there's like a high density creature decks tend to like it.
I think one thing, Aetherville is actually, I think, fallen off of modern because of another card we talked about, Prismatic Ending, making it very easy to answer for every deck main board now.
Yeah, plus it's going to answer all their creatures anyway, so it's like the removal running around is really good. Fury and Solitude are things you got to worry about, and I don't know if tiny creature decks can handle that.
Yeah. What do we have next, BZ?
Well, it's a card that was just absolutely, I don't know what this design is, but it's so obviously broken. It's Hogak, Risen Necropolis, Probably just one of the most messed up Magic cards ever designed. It's like 8 Golgari hybrid, but it has Delve and Convoke, 2 super great mechanics that definitely don't cheat mana, and you can cast it from your graveyard. And oh boy, it ruined Modern immediately. It was just the most miserable deck, and they eventually banned it, rightfully so. And I think it does see vintage play also.
Yeah, I mean, Hogak is 100% was Modern Ruiner. It really was it the summer of Hogak. It was
by itself almost dumpstered that format.
Oh yeah, and they tried banning everything around it, but it turned out Hogak was the problem the whole time.
It was from below.
It was like this card just needed to be banned. It's absolutely a silly Magic card in Modern.
But what happens when you port it over to Commander? Nothing.
It's a vanilla 8/8s are bad. Even if you're playing it for 0 mana, one, you're limited on how many times you can cast it, which was true for other formats, but it's even more true.
You really only needed like 2 for the other formats.
I mean, it's just not good. 0 mana 8/8. Maybe I'll play that.
Zero mana 8/8.
That you can't play until turn 4 or 5.
See, now you're losing me.
Yeah, exactly. How much worse is that?
I see no competitive edge to this. It's so funny that this card is busted and is a complete mistake, and we're like, I really need more.
Yeah, I need more out of it for my commander deck. All right, next, Fatal Push. 1 mana, destroy target creature with mana value 2 or less, but it can be 4 or less if something left the battlefield in your control this turn.
One of the best removal spells ever printed.
Yes, and I think, so for starters, getting something to leave your battlefield consistently in Commander, only certain decks can do that for starters. It's not really something that every single deck can reliably do. You need sack outlets, you need to have fetch lands, and if you don't have one of those, then you're only hitting 2s, which is nothing in Commander again.
Yeah,
and now
2s.
And we're only going up to 4. Again, this is all about the CMC of the format. What is the converted mana cost to creatures? All the relevant threats are going to cost 4 and 5. Some will cost 4 or less, but not a lot of them.
It's fine to snipe utility creatures, but I mean, as far as removal targets go, generously, you're only really hitting like 50% of things.
You need, our removal just needs to hit more. It needs to hit, if I'm playing something that only hits creatures, it better hit every single creature.
And it does not.
And it does not. And if it has a restriction, it better cost 0 mana.
Yeah, I mean, Fatal Push is competing with like Deadly Relic, just 0 mana. Exile
Deadly Relic, Snuff Out.
Swords to Plowshares, depending on the deck.
Hagra Mauling, which is a land. It's competing with way too many cards that actually fit into our decks. Fatal Push just isn't even close. And this is Pioneer, Standard, Modern. It's been in all those formats.
Pretty much everything.
I think it's fallen off in Modern.
Yeah, because
lately,
Modern Horizons 2 is dumb.
Also, yeah, Prismatic Ending is very good.
I mean, plus the other free spells I mentioned. What about Teferi, Hero of Dominaria? Super iconic Planeswalker. Definitely like wrapped up the whole Dominaria set in a nice bow. It's a control finisher that just sort of fuels itself, and in a 1v1 environment, it untaps lands, lets you hold up counter magic, and protects itself in like a way that no other Planeswalker does, and it just snowballs, and you just can't get out from under it if you fall behind.
Yeah, Teferi is a card when people slam it, I tend to scoop within 2 turns if it's on the battlefield.
Game's probably done.
If you can't get it off the battlefield, they're going to win. And that's fair. Teferi is that good of a Planeswalker. He's a control finisher. He's been dominating since he came out in, oh God, I want to think how long ago
2019, something like that?
I think it was long ago.
2017?
2018 sounds about right.
2001?
2001, yeah. When he came out in 2001. Teferi is obviously amazing. I mean, it's undeniable how strong this Magic card is. But it suffers from the same thing Jace the Mind Sculptor does. This card much better. I want to say that. I would play this in Commander before I'd play 10 of these before I played 1 Jace.
Okay.
So Teferi, much better than Jace, but you're just struggling. This is plus draw card minus answer a thing. This is like classic templating and like ultimate kind of win the game.
And likelihood you survive, likelihood Teferi survives like less than 25%. I don't know. It's like going to be impossible. You can't keep everybody in check with just 2 lands untapped at the end step. 5 mana to draw a card is not anything sustainable.
I mean, like I said, I really like this card, but it doesn't convert. Keeping Planeswalkers on the battlefield in Commander that don't protect themselves well enough is just never going to happen. We need, like, if I'm putting 6 mana into Planeswalker, and I know we're not big advocates for Elspeth, but at least she has a chance to protect herself.
She makes 3 jumpers.
That's what you need. You need something that can protect itself that well. And most things don't do that.
Or at least her minus, can get a 2 or 3 for 1 where it doesn't matter if she dies now. You're sniping a few creatures. Teferi, just not happening, man. Go back to Pioneer, go back to Modern. You're doing great in Modern, buddy. This next one, last one.
This one's easy.
This one's hilarious because to me, it just doesn't work. Like, it's a great card, and there's nothing wrong with it.
It's worded
it just
incorrectly.
Doesn't work for Commander. It's Field of Ruin. This is probably actually the most contentious one because people love Field of Ruin. But it's 2 tap sack, destroy a non-basic land that one person controls. Then, everybody searches for a basic land, puts it into play untapped, which in 1v1 formats just goes, okay, you lose your land and you get one. I sacrifice this and I get one back, and they're untapped, and we're even, but I got to destroy some of your like technology, some of your extra value in like a creature land or something.
Utility.
Yeah, and then in Commander, it's like, hey, do two of my opponents want a free land? Oh boy.
I mean, it's just too good. It's too good. It benefits two other players more than it benefits you. That's not. We don't want any card that does that. I don't want to be playing that card. I'd rather play Ghost Court. I'd rather go down a land. And yeah, it's going to help some opponents in some ways. But I'm going to take that all day over straight up ramping two other players. That's just not worth it ever.
Yeah, it's worth noting the math with Field of Ruin is similar to the math with Arcane Denial. But the problem is that cards in hand, much different from lands on the battlefield. It just doesn't really translate one for one.
Yeah, no. If my opponents could cheat things into play, when I Arcane Denial, my two other opponents could cheat a creature from the hand to the play. I'm never doing that.
It's not doing that. Yeah, it's not happening. So Field of Ruin, I think it's funny because saw tons of play, great disruption in Standard, Pioneer, Modern. Commander, I don't even look at it. It might as well be, like a silver bordered card.
BZ, give him a video to watch, quick.
Oh, the video to watch next. Wow, there's so many to choose from because this is a topic we do all the time. So I would recommend that you go see our top 10 most hated commanders. That's what I'm thinking you should go watch. It's right over here.
Peace out, Trap Scouts.